To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the Exeter Town Council regular meeting for Monday, April 7th. Order, will the clerk please take the roll?
Dean Patterson.
Here.
Ray Morrissey.
Here.
Diane Allen. Here. Olivia DeFrancesco. Here. Al Ellis.
Here.
Number 3, acknowledgements and announcements. A, Board of Canvassers, the new meeting day is Wednesdays, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Originally, it was Tuesdays, the same hours. Item B is annual dog licensing, April 1st through June 1st, the fee is $6. After June 1st, $6 per license plus a $25 late fee per license. Licenses can be obtained at the clerk's office, animal shelter, or online. For more information, visit the town's website. Item C, Exeter West Greenwich School District All-Day Referendum, Monday, April 21st, 2025. 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. here in the council chambers at the Exeter Clerk's Office, 675 10 Rhode Road, Exeter, Rhode Island. Item D, Exeter Fire District Annual Budget Meeting is Wednesday, May 14th, 2025 at 7 p.m. at the Exeter West Greenwich Junior Senior High School Auditorium, 930 Gooseneck Hill Road, West Greenwich, Rhode Island. E, the annual financial town meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, June 10th, 2025 at 7 o'clock in the Exeter West Greenwich Junior Senior High School Auditorium, 930 Gooseneck Hill Road, West Greenwich, Rhode Island. Item F, Exeter Public Library. The annual Easter egg hunt is Saturday, April 12th, 2025, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Register through the programming and event calendar at on the library's website. Item G, Exeter Public Library Annual Exeter Spring Market, formerly Annual Spring Craft Fair, is Saturday, May 3rd, 2025, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. A wide variety of vendors, approximately 40, will be set up outdoors on the library lawn. New this year, a local author showcase highlighting hometown literary talent. Authors, approximately 9, will be set up indoors in the library program room. Support local artisans and businesses, shop for a variety of handcrafted goods, and Mother's Day gift. And I'm going to add one more thing to acknowledgements and announcements. The agenda we have tonight is probably the longest one I've ever seen in quite a few years. Probably about 8:45, we're going to see where we're at in this agenda and make a decision whether to continue the meeting till next Monday or try and continue and finish it tonight. Number 4, approval of the agenda order. I do want to move one thing right now, and I want to move public comment to next before approval of the consent agenda, because there's quite a few people here to speak on that, and there's more people sitting outside, so I need a motion on that, please.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, with that, we are going to go to public comment. The first one is John Nelson. Yeah, it's a 3-minute time limit per person. It's 15 minutes for this item on the agenda.
Yeah, it's right here. Is he here?
Yeah, is he ready, please? And, during public comment, the council is not allowed to speak back to you or acknowledge it unless it's an emergency order, so if you think we're ignoring you, we're not ignoring you. So with that, Mr. Nelson, please.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Excuse me, good evening. I've been a resident of Rolling Hills since 2017. I'm here to voice my opinion about the recent activity at the end of the State Drive. Early last week, the residents of Exeter Village noticed that construction was taking place at the end of the state after a former injunction had elapsed. A concerned resident of our neighborhood, we have been watching the activities on a daily basis. I myself have been down to the end of the state and have noticed for the past 2 weeks consistent construction of the road. It's an established town property. Davis has claimed he has the rights to this paper road via adverse possession. The residents of Exeter Village adamantly deny that he has openly inhibited an improved and otherwise neglected piece of property to gain legal title to the property after a statutory period of time was passed. Within Rhode Island, that's 10 years. There's an aerial image, or many aerial images, that show land remained untouched until 2018 when Davis took it upon himself to clear the town land. Thus, he does not meet the prerequisites for adverse possession. I'm familiar with the building standards from reputable construction companies. I've been around for a little while. So let's say Davis has the rights to create an entrance on a paper road, town property. Every construction entrance I've ever seen from a roadway to somebody's property has included items like fencing, to keep the public away from potential harm caused by trucks and other machinery. Davis has not put anything in place to combat erosion, no hay bales, no straw walls, no check dams, or surface water. Absolutely nothing. The operation under his ownership and management has permitted vehicles to speed up and down the road, causing destruction of town property both in the creation of his entrance and debris scattered throughout the road, prohibiting families from using the area where the local children often play. We would like to personally thank the town's council for serving a cease and desist on Friday, April 4th. However, Davis has had a complete disregard for the town's authority. He continued work, even accessing the property from the State Drive immediately after and for the remainder of April 4th, even though he has access point on 102. It should be noted that this access point would not bring traffic and construction debris to a quiet and safe neighborhood for all families that reside there. If there is some reason why he cannot access the property via 102 entrance, that remains an issue for Davis to be solved by himself. He purchased the property and should have done his due diligence to research his limits surrounding the ability to develop. Based on Davis's lack of regard for due legal process and adhering to the town ordered cease and desist, we implore the town to seek an injunction with the Superior Court immediately. As we understand, the stay in place does not prevent the town from taking this action.
All right, good job, 1 to 3 minutes. 250,
Yeah.
253.
I thought I had 10 seconds left.
Next, it looks like Carl Streichard, did I say this correctly?
That was really close. Kane Stryker.
Okay, thank you. You have 3 minutes,
All
sir.
right, I'll be a little
Stand
short.
up. Can you come up?
Yeah, raise definitely.
Oh, John didn't have to get up.
No, because he started talking to you, he was on the
We
time.
got a special spot for this? No, it's all good. So good afternoon, everybody. My name's Kane Stryker. I reside at 71 Rolling Hill Drive here in Exeter. My wife and I purchased our home in 2021. Probably everybody knows Bob Anderson. I bought the old Anderson place. A place where we intend to stay and raise our 2 children. Right now I got a 2.5-year-old and a 9-month-old. So I came here today to address the same concern as John, which pertains to the property listed as 010 Rhode Road, purchased by Asa Davis, November 9th, 2021, according to the Town of Exeter GIS records. And I want to emphasize that the address listed is 10 Rhode Road, not State Drive. While I respect property owners' rights in the process to obtain necessary approvals and zoning, I have concerns regarding a claim being made for that portion of the State Drive as Mr. Davis' private driveway. Our neighborhood's historical records, including drawings, and I actually Bob left us one of the original drawings for the neighborhood, clearly established this area as a paper road not owned by Asa Davis. Also, if anybody's ever used the app Onyx, it utilizes current tax records to show property lines to make sure that an individual is not trespassing on private property. This tool that I use every single day also indicates that today the section of the land is not owned by Mr. Davis, therefore it belongs to the town. Finally, I'd like to understand the potential benefits this proposed housing project offers to the town of Exeter. If the council can demonstrate that the development will result in tangible advantages for the community, such as lower property taxes, increased school budget, or an increase in property values, I might even be supportive of such a proposal. However, if the project is projected to be a negative for Exeter, I believe it is the town council's responsibility to reject the proposal and to uphold the rights to the town's property of the paper road at the end of a state drive. If the state requires a balance of housing types, I would argue it makes sense to place that housing in the urban areas where it is required. Placing large portions of that housing at Exeter, where there is no public transportation or police force, does not seem to be beneficial for anyone except for a statistic. So, thanks for your time. Happy to take any questions if there are any.
Thank you.
How'd I do on time?
203. John.
next, I believe it's Jackie Mears.
Yes. We're good right from our seats?
Yeah,
That's
go
good.
right ahead.
Oh, thanks,
Put
Red.
your skin here, Danny and I.
All right, I'll do my best. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jackie, and my husband, Matt, and our 2 children live on Estate Drive, and we've lived there, it's been almost 14 years now. And this neighborhood has been a wonderful place to raise our family. Plenty of room outside for them to play, ride bikes, take walks, and have adventures. And our dogs love this neighborhood too. And since 2015, I've been walking my dog, now dogs, from my house to the cul-de-sac at the end of Estate Drive. And for the first few years of our walks, the area where the paper road is was filled with trees. In fact, I didn't even know the paper road existed at the time. It just looked like woods that had some foot traffic. I didn't even know. As several years went by and our dog walks continued, it became obvious that more and more trees were being removed from the end of the cul-de-sac. So much so, the heavily wooded area that once showed signs of only foot traffic now had been cleared wide enough for vehicles to go through. The paper road now actually looked like a road. So fast forward 2023, the doorbell rang. Our doorbell rarely rang, so when it did, we were on alert. And it certainly wasn't someone we knew, and it certainly wasn't someone we ever expected to see. It was a constable serving us papers. Immediately I was thinking, was this some kind of mistake? It had to be, some misunderstanding. After all, what could we be sued for? We're a hardworking family, we mind our business, and we love being a part of the EWG community. Well, it turned out Mr. Asa Davis and the town were in a legal battle of who owned the paper road at the end of the State Drive, and our family was being added to the ownership lawsuit Asa had against the town because we lived on a State Drive. At the time, I just couldn't make sense of it. We were being sued over property we didn't even own, a property that it wasn't even next to ours. It just didn't make sense. And it comes to find out we weren't alone. All our neighbors on Estate have been sued for the same reason. Now my family, along with numerous other neighbors, had to use our own money to obtain legal counsel. Money my husband and I planned on putting towards our kids' college. Instead was spent on legal fees in this ongoing trial of property ownership between Asa and the town. And that is not right. The case is currently at a stay in the court system, and no ruling has been issued on who owns that paper road. Therefore, it shouldn't be touched. However, over the last few weeks, there's been an extensive amount of extremely concerning activity that has disrupted this once peaceful neighborhood on Estate Drive. Asa Davis has taken it upon himself to alter the paper road at the end of Estate Drive by adding gravel and utilizing it as his own property. The dump trucks going back and forth during the day and Asa cruising through the neighborhood with his trailer in tow pose significant safety risks to our families, our pets, as well as the structural integrity of this street. And to further add an exclamation point to his actions, Asa even installed his own mailbox with a self-administered street number at the beginning of that road. Asa was recently issued a cease and desist order, which thank you, from the town at the beginning of April, and yet continued with his efforts.
I gotta stop you there.
That's
3
fine.
minutes.
I think I've made my point. Thank you.
Thank you.
Number 4 is Martina Collegian. I pronounced it right this time?
Yes, you
Thank
did very
you.
well. Thank you. My name is Martina Belligia, and I also live on the State Drive. I've been there for 25 years. My property abuts Mr. Davis's and the town property of the paper road. I continue to be very concerned regarding what has been occurring on paper road for the past 7 years. In spite of past court orders, and more recently the cease and desist order that the town handed to Mr. Davis on Friday, April 4th, he continues to do whatever he wants, even putting a mailbox up with his name on it on the paper road, with no consequences. He has cut trees and bushes down on the brush numerous times, and recently he completely cleared the paper road and had gravel delivered to make it appear as a road, which he is utilizing heavily. I said it in court years ago, and I'll say it again. He should be following the same rules and the regulations the rest of the residents of Exeter have to follow. But he doesn't. This needs to stop. An injunction should be placed permanently and the barriers be placed as soon as possible. Thank you.
Next is Michael Paris.
Yeah, Mike Paris from 32 Estate Drive. Not everybody from Exeter Village is going to get a chance to speak, but everybody that has so far is the feelings of everybody who can't speak. So I first purchased my parcel there in 1998 on a state drive when 10 Rhode Road didn't even connect. And I went through Sarah Drive on a dirt road in order to get to Estate Drive. And at the time, when I did that, there was still obviously trees on the back end of that cul-de-sac. And I was the first one at that point to buy. The reason why I came to this town is everybody else. It's peaceful, it's beautiful, it's a great town. There's some changes going on. But at the same time, you know, this needs to be addressed. In 2017 to 18, we woke up the neighborhood to trees being cut, shrubs being taken out. And I right away called a surveyor and found out what was going on there. So at that point, it became a walkable road. And then, at this point, after, 3 years of the injunctions lifted, not just a walkable road anymore, you can drive down it. It's one truck after another coming through the neighborhood. We had an incident where a trucker had to be slowed down. We've got kids walking that neighborhood now, and this is just to say, it's the neighborhood. And as it gets warmer, more people are coming out. They got dogs, pets, bicycles. In this incident, when this trucker was coming through and was asked to slow down, there was kids on bicycles. It's gonna get worse. My view of this is, it should be stopped at this point. It's in litigation, and I mean, I can tell you for a fact, he will tell anybody here that he owns that property, because he has. It's in litigation. So we think that at this point, put in another injunction. We've been told by our lawyers that should be done by the town. That could stop at least this from happening until legal, figures it all out. Thank you.
Next is Dr. Gregory Casey.
Yes, that's me. I live at 41 Dolly Pond Road. My wife and I and our son, just about to turn 3, moved in there. You might remember us from being here last December meeting as well, and we're here again for the same reason. We're still struggling with lack of peace and quiet in our own neighborhood, where directly across the street from us, our neighbors utilize their yard as a motocross course for ATVs, dirt bikes, dune buggies. And before we ever reached out to anyone for this, back last April, we did our own readings with our own devices. We were told, those can't be used. It has to be done by the zoning inspector. We never would have reached out to anyone if we didn't find some error in that already with breaking the ordinances. But we finally reached out to town officials starting after last Easter, when the neighbors started up and there were 6 ATVs going, and we were just doing an Easter egg hunt at 10 in the morning. And it's continued on ever since. And I've worked with 4 zoning officials, Hal Morgan, Josh Case, Karen Ellsworth, had heard different things from all of them. No one I've ever called in that entire time, over dozens of phone calls, ever came out in response to a noise ordinance complaint. Eventually Dave, the current zoning inspector, he and Sergeant Miller came and they did a reading preemptively because they knew it was going to happen, because it happens every day at 4, sometimes until sundown from the time the kids get home, and then sometimes 6 to 8 hours on the weekends. Of the last 28 days since March 10th, they've ridden 25 out of 28 days. We have a list of the dates and some of the times. Inspector Dave, I forget your last name, I'm sorry, but yeah, our thing is on the list, so I'm anxious to hear what's happening. We've just been avoiding our house on nights and weekends for a long time now, and it's just getting unbearable, really, and we're suffering from stress. It's trickling down to our son. We just avoid being at our house as much as possible, really, and we're just looking for the noise ordinance to be addressed.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have gone over the 15-minute time limit. We do have the other individuals on here, so it is on record that we're here. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Next, number 5 is approval of the consent agenda. Does anybody have any communication?
I did want to just have us look at the four that address traffic, busing. And those are 33, 36, 39, and 40. They're all similar resolutions.
33, 36.
36, 39, and 40. And you've seen that, the ones that address
That's the one for the transportation?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did pass the resolution already on that.
private.
Oh, no, not a private, you're correct.
I don't think that's different.
Olivia?
I'm all set, thank
Diane?
We're gonna put,
So you're all set, right?
I'm all set with this one.
Which bill sheet you want for? Oh, the regular one, you gotta recuse yourself on that? Yeah. Okay. What's that?
You didn't have any.
No. Yeah. Once I saw it, we're gonna be around anyway, so. Everybody was here for the council meeting, okay? So I need a motion to approve
And just a quick question on the kennel licenses.
Oh, yeah.
Do we assume that we will only issue if everything, are they all?
All requirements in there.
Okay, good.
Walker's license is good.
Thank you.
A motion to approve the consent agenda minus the bill sheet.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
So now we need to make a motion to approve the bill sheet.
So move.
All in favor?
Aye.
Dan, you just wait just a minute,
The people there.
yeah.
I'll sit on the end.
Okay, you go. Number 6, vacancies and appointments. Personnel board. Resignations, none. Item C, appointments. Exeter Rural Land Preservation Trust Committee members, 3 needed to serve 4-year term beginning date of appointment. Number 2, Board of Tax and Assessment Review member to serve unexpired term ending May 6, 2027. Number 3, Board of Tax and Assessment Review alternate member to serve 3-year term beginning date of appointment. Do we have, what, 1 person on that board right now? Or no? Usually it's 3, isn't
It's
it?
supposed to be 3 and an alternate.
We have
And I think
there's two of them. We have
So we need at least 1 more.
Dan, before you go on, now we have a full number of people here, well, the house is full.
Yep.
And many of them have agendas in their hands, many. We're talking about vacancies, like next door at the Board of, at the Tax Assessor's Office, Board of Assessment Review. These are not, I don't want anybody to think these are sort of closed inside kind of things. We need people from the public to just volunteer, and the Board of Assessment Review, ready, never meets. Except on the rare occasion that the tax assessor is not able to resolve an issue that is brought to our attention. And then there's the need for an alternate. And we just wish that someone would indicate to one of us at some point that you'd consider helping us that way. It's a public service announcement. and a plea, and a plea. Thank you. Go ahead, Dan.
All right. Item B, expiring terms. I'm gonna put four of them together
I would agree.
I have number one, William Gallagher, Town Constable, expires April 30th, 2025. Thomas Allen, Special Constable, expires April 30th, 2025. Stephen Vanner, Special Constable, expires April 30th, 2025. And Alan Gustafson, is that how I say it, Stuart?
Gustafson.
Okay. Special Constable expires April 30th, 2025. You want to speak to that, Scout?
All four of these individuals have worked with me. They've all submitted their letters of wanting to continue as a constable. And I gave my letters of recommendation to the council to reappoint these people for another year.
I move they be reappointed.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for your service.
Number 5, Gabrielle Perlmutter, Juvenile Hearing Board, expires April 11th, 2025. Was we good back?
Yes.
We have.
Okay, yeah.
I move that she be reappointed.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I don't know about this next guy. Kenneth Finley, Library Board of Trustees, expires April 1st, 2025.
We haven't heard from him, but I move he be reappointed to the position. We're not hearing from him
All in
tonight.
favor?
Aye.
Okay, no public hearings. We did public comment.
Maybe.
New business. A, solicitor's license applications, Griffin Godin, North Franklin, Connecticut. Michael Trizzoni, West Greenwich, Rhode Island. Daniel West, Warwick, Rhode Island. Scott Keller, Uxbridge, Mass. Matthew McGuire, Cumberland, Rhode Island. Robert O'Neill Jr., North Kingston, Rhode Island. Joseph Chiarella, Cranston, Rhode Island. Applicants, Power Home Remodeling, Cranston, Rhode Island, door to door. 3 estimates, window, roofing, siding. Come on up, because I got some questions.
Sure.
What exactly are you doing?
We offer free estimates on windows, roofing, siding, so typically we've done work in the area, so then we just canvass the surrounding areas, look at each house, determine windows, roof, siding. If it's older, we're just offering a free estimate.
That's not for you.
Yeah.
That's for me.
My question is, are they just handing out brochures? Are they initiating contracts at doors?
No, so we just offer the free estimate. If you're interested, we'll set up a date and time to have our expert come out, and then the expert is the one that would leave you with the estimate. It's free, no obligations, guaranteed in writing for a full calendar year.
So you guys are basically appointment setters.
Correct.
Okay, 'cause when I was reading all that, I'm looking at the Rhode Island contractor's licensing bit. So whoever's doing your contract is a licensed Rhode Island contractor?
I'm not sure what the question exactly is. So a lot of, everything is through us. So we go to the door, and the person who does the estimate is through us, and then everyone who does any install
Who
would
does
be.
the actual contract?
What's that?
Who
does
does
the
the
work?
actual contract with the customer? Who
Yeah.
writes the
Who has them
contract?
It would be one of our sales
Do you
experts.
have a Rhode Island, are you registered with the Rhode Island Contractors Licensing Board? And licensed?
I
Don't know.
was above my head, but I would imagine
Because
we
before
do
I
work all
approve
around
that,
the
right there, if no one's licensed, you're looking at fines of $1,000 to $10,000 from the state.
Well, I would, if we're doing this work all around Rhode Island, I would imagine we
Yeah,
are.
well, like, that, I'm gonna make a motion to continue that until we have some proof on that. I'm not a remodeling guy, I'm in the construction industry.
Okay.
And I know what I have to go through and what I have to do with a contract. That's what caught my eye when I saw all the names and not a single license listed, so.
So the people listed are just people doing what I do. That's,
But you're not, I just asked you a question, who does the actual contract, are they licensed? They're working, all the same company, correct?
yes.
Yeah, That's where we need some approval before I let this one go forward. Yeah.
We have a certificate of insurance.
I didn't see anything in the paperwork.
We have a certificate of insurance
No, we just saw the, we
for
didn't
power
see.
home remodeling.
Yeah. Yeah. But they have to list, they have to have this on file with Builders Registration Board too, specifically made out to them. This is a company out of Pennsylvania. I mean, we need a lot more. I need more before I can let that go, because basically if you're going door to door and someone in your office is doing contracts and you're not licensed,
We have to be licensed. We do work all around Rhode Island, we're in
Yeah,
Socket now, we
that's
just
what
went
I'm saying.
Cumberland.
I'm gonna make a motion to continue this till you get the proper paperwork in front of the town. Yeah.
So what exactly do you need?
We need copies of whoever is in charge of this company. They have to be licensed through the state of Rhode Island. The Rhode Island Contractors Licensing Board.
Our home remodeling has that.
They do have one. It's valid.
So,
But that should be, does it have the name of the who? That's the guy that should be applying, the one that holds that license.
What's the name?
Adam Kaliner, K-A-L-I-N-E-R.
I don't know. We're a national company.
But that's what I need, yeah.
So that doesn't work.
Yep. Because I have to go renew my license in the next 2 weeks, and I get to go to school again. I do this every year. There's specific items that have to be in these contracts when you go. If you're writing contracts with people and you're not licensed, you're in violation. There's all specific things that you have to include in these contracts, lien laws, everything. Yeah. I'm gonna make a motion to continue this until you bring us the proper paperwork. So it's not gonna, it'll be on the agenda next month. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, why don't you put it under unfinished business?
Yeah, continue until next
And
month,
then,
unfinished business,
and
yeah.
under unfinished business, a month from now,
Until
if the
proper
paperwork
licensing,
he's
you know.
requested is in order. And may I suggest, if you're not sure, have your people, the clerk or the people that are here during the day would be able to tell you exactly what it is that he wants based on what we're discussing here tonight. That makes sense? And you're probably covered, but I understand why he's asking these questions. And by the way, you probably know, a couple of nights ago, or yesterday, sometime, it was quite a story about people being taken advantage, not you people, but some people that came to do work and, lost bunches of money. So I'm not suggesting that's you, but I think that's part of
Because
what
like
he's
that
asking.
insurance certificate, if you're a licensed Rhode Island contractor, those have to be downloaded with them as additional insured, named as additional insured in the state on the bottom of the page. That's to show me the name of a company out of Pennsylvania, so.
Okay. I mean, we submitted everyone, we reached out to every town before we come and do the application drop, so we just brought everything that was asked of us.
Yeah, picked the wrong guy.
Alright.
Is there a second on that motion?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Yeah.
Try again next
You'll
month.
be on for full business next month, so.
I have got my license. You gotta have yours. We have our-
Bill.
Go, Mr. Bill. Thank you, Bill.
Next, item B is proposed amendments to the Exeter zoning ordinance, farm cafe, limited food options provided by farm breweries, appendix A, article 1, definitions, article 2, section 2.4, zoning use table. Really can't hear that.
Dan, as you're waiting for Bill to come, I don't know if any of the rest of you have had an opportunity to speak to him, but I have at length. And I know he's spent a lot of time, as you perhaps know, trying to craft something that would work. Not just for the one person who would like it to, but something that would apply to the whole town. And that's important for us.
It was a couple of weeks ago, I was talking to him about this.
Well, he's been very busy, or has been, trying to craft something that's good for us. And we have to put it out to hearing anyway, so next month, will be one, if we vote to, pass it on, that's when we'll talk about it.
Here.
Come on up, Bill.
Hi, Bill.
Good evening.
We got a chair for
You
you.
want to sit?
Right here?
Sit.
This is our town planner, Bill D.
Bill D.
Pasquale.
Pasquale.
See everyone. Glad everyone could come.
Thanks for coming back.
You're up, boss.
So Farm Cafe is, it's a piece of legislation that's gonna go forward for a request for a public hearing. It's actually going to suggest that a farm cafe be added to farm brewery to allow some element of food to be served in the farm brewery. That would be part of the zoning, a zoning text amendment. In addition to that, you will see on that same docket that there are some changes to the actual use code. As you well know, that the state of Rhode Island has required a special use permit to have its own objective criteria for every special use that's in our use table. That is gonna be some serious work to do. So to kind of put a tourniquet on the patient here, we're gonna ask that these special use permits will be turned to yes or no until we have such time to create this objective criteria for each actual use. So those two are combined. That is a requirement that we need to do and kind of behind other towns. As you well know, if we don't do that, then if a special use permit comes in, we don't have objective use, then by statute, it's an approved use. So let's make sure that we're doing what's right for the town and take a minute to be able to do that. So that will be set for public hearing.
This is all set, so you just need us to vote to move forward for a public hearing?
Correct.
I'll make a motion that the Farm Cafe zoning amendment gets put on public hearing
Scheduled for a public.
scheduled next month. Okay.
Yeah, that was,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Work.
okay.
was it May 5th, May, is that the next?
May 5th,
Yeah.
so it has to advertise for 3 weeks, so just enough time.
That's just-
Okay, we can just-
And I will second that motion, by the way.
Any other discussion?
He wasn't listening.
Well,
Thank you,
under-
Bill, for all his work on
Yeah,
this,
I
our
would-
part-time town planner.
Yes, and Bill didn't hear the comment I made before he came in the room, so I echo that remark. Bill needs to be given credit. This was a huge undertaking for him. I know it was. And so, thank you, Bill, for
Thank
bringing
you very
it to
much.
us. And we'll see what questions arise next month when we have an open public hearing. Thank you.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, don't move, Bill. Item C, town planner, request for contract extension, comprehensive plan update, Alyssa Brown and Associates LLC Consultants.
Fantastic, so I have good news and bad news. The good news is that the statewide planning came back and were limited in their comments to only economic development. So I'm proud of the council, proud of the town,
Proud of
all
you.
our work to
That's
go
all you,
forward.
Proud of you.
that's you.
We haven't had approval since 2009, that's what, 15 years? Really important for the town because it
That
is
is
the
huge.
town's blueprint
This
to go
is
forward.
huge.
What did they find wrong in that chapter?
Well, it didn't find it wrong, it just said that we should probably
Have more
take a look at economic development in a way that's not, you know,
traditional?
yeah, untraditional. We talked about that, improving our farms,
Mm-hmm.
giving more versatility to our local artisans, doing it in a way that's different, that's not anywhere USA, that's unique to Exeter, by Exeter, you know, create in Exeter. We also have the property right next to 95, next to West Greenwich. That's you know, ready to go for an overlay district. So only two. Now the bad news is that it's gonna cost us a little bit more money because we had gone forward, and it's a good thing because we actually were able to use the locally approved comp plan, which is this, and everyone is welcome to either get that online. I have some flash drives if the public would like to look at it. And then the mapping. When we change it, unfortunately, we gotta change like the pagination of all the mapping and some of the other stuff. So I'm asking for a contract extension up to $8,000, not the entire $8,000. If she only uses $200 with that consultant per hour, then that's what we're gonna pay. We'll have to pay for the reproduction of the new binders for the public. Luckily, we only purchased about 5 or 6 of them, so there's not a lot that's not gonna be reused. But after that, the good news is you will have a state-approved comprehensive plan that you can bring to the bank when you have something that comes to this town that's non-conforming with the state of Rhode Island, and you can say, wait a minute, your plan says that we should be doing this. We were a little worried that the housing element would get beat up a bit, but it did not. So it's only economic development and transportation of all things. So some of the things they're talking about is, do we want more bike routes, or, you know, what they call road diets? So they take 4 lanes and they bring it into 2, then they have 2 shoulders for the bikes. That
You mean
kind of-
like Wakefield? You mean like
Yeah,
that?
so Providence.
Europe.
Yeah, which I think is I don't know how that place.
It's funny, but Route 2, we used to have 2 lanes and 2
Yeah.
bike paths, and they screwed that up and put in a middle
Right.
lane.
Right.
Probably
Suicide
use
lane.
it for a
The
racetrack.
suicide, yeah, probably Route 3, that's a pretty dangerous road. You got the 4 lanes of traffic, then you get the median, so it could be opportunity to slow things down. The comp plan wants to reimagine Route 3 as to something a little bit better than very difficult uses on our environment. Because we're required to have groundwater, potable water, OWTS. Does the town no good to have uses that will pollute our water? We don't have a reservoir to tap into, so we're trying to reimagine this Route 3 into something that could be supportive of recreational, because we have Arcadia, we could really play off of that Arcadia mixed-use commercial district. So we have a lot that we can look forward to on Route 3, but at this point, the state really wants us to take a look at that economic development section and beef it up just a bit. Like, what policies do we have for economic development? Do we have broadband? Should we increase broadband? What should we do in economic development? I think we have a great answer. I mean, the town has a potential overlay district for Route 3 in the intersection of 95. If you had logistics warehouse, an Amazon,
That was this,
small one.
wasn't it? No?
It was, and that's why we were a little frustrated, because we as a town had a plan, and we think we portend that they knew that there was a plan in place that included the redevelopment of Route 3, and then the intersection of 95, and then the, you know, grow Exeter, buy Exeter, that local development. What we're trying to do is give a little bit more flexibility to farmers, that they could do a little bit more than just farm, that they could have more agribusiness. I think you're gonna see that on the agenda. We're talking about Farm Cafe, right? We just looked at that. So that's about versatility without, and giving farmers some increased revenue, so that it doesn't turn into another flat, another, you know, density of development. What we heard in the comp plan from our residents is keep Exeter rural. And in order to do that, we have to make it functionally operative for these farms to stay in business. So that's part of it. So that's what we're asking for. I'm gonna try, I've been frugal throughout this. Nothing goes to me, there's a comp, it's a hunt. I'll be very frugal on the hours spent that we'll need 2 ways: to write the narrative between myself and Larissa, but more importantly, to reformat some of this, which is just a pain. But it's okay, because we didn't spend a lot of money on the hard copies. We only
What
had,
does it cost to do just one hard copies?
oh, these, each hard copy with this is close to $75 with the maps. So that's why the first thing, we have a lot of flash drives. It cost me nothing, the cost of a flash drive. So We anticipated this, certainly didn't anticipate we'd only have economic development. So that's fantastic news, and I was actually pretty happy.
So we're pretty limited. It came out in the, we were on the advisory committee.
Yes, you were.
And we're limited because we don't have water, sewer. So we're kind of limited where we can, some kind of economic development in Exeter.
That's right, but, you know, I'm gonna push back on, you know, statewide planning, because economic development is just not necessarily building a Walmart or a big box store. It really is about celebrating who we are. And that's farm, we have tremendous amount of artisans, all, the diversity here is a lot more than you would think. And we have to embrace that as an economic development opportunity, and not as something that is just like any other economic development. That being said, the logistics warehouse at that corner could really provide some much-needed income to diversify the tax base in the town. Because you're a one-horse town, literally, your tax base comes from the residents. And I hate to say it, but ever since I've been here from 21, I can't sleep at night when I see the estate planners come through my office, and then you see everyone getting older and older and older, and maybe the 100 acres that they wanted to keep because they wanted to keep it is not 100 acres anymore. Now it's 50, now it's lot cut here, lot cut there. And I hate to say, in the next 4 or 5 years, with all the regulations being taken away from the localities, you're gonna see a lot more development than you've had. And you're next on the chopping block, when you look at what happened in North Kingston, what about that type of land use development, we're next in line. So we'll be very, very prepared for that. So keeping our open spaces viable by issuing that versatility that they need is certainly a way that we can kind of prolong, you know, this, an influx of development that we don't care for, a type of development we don't care.
I'm gonna make a motion here to grant your request to extend the contract. But then I have another question, if there's a second.
Second it.
Thank you.
Now that said, this, going back to the economic development section,
Yes.
do you need to, this needs to be reworked and resubmitted, is this back and they giving you directives so that if you don't follow them, they wanna see what you've done?
Yes, it'll be 60 days, Hal, to get
Okay.
back to them. The good news is, I believe we already have it in there. We may have to write it a different way, or put it in a different chapter, but when I'm reading these sections, I believe it's already in there. And so, yes, the answer to your question is yes, I'll rewrite it the way they hopefully want me to rewrite it. I'll resubmit to them along with some of the changes to the mapping. They wanted different colors, they wanted to put a bikeway in there by state, you know, by state mandate. And that's about it. Again, I'm looking at it now, it's only a couple of
But
pages.
you do have, there's a 60-day.
60 days, I gotta get back to
Okay.
them. I did ask for an extension, they weren't crazy about the extension, so, you know, I just wanna get it done and get this on the books.
Bet you do.
We're one of the only towns that
You were
will,
part-time?
Yeah.
it was one of the only towns that will have as an approved comp plan. I just looked today. A bunch of other towns just went expired,
Good stuff.
including big towns, cities.
Because it's
So,
not an easy process by any means.
no, and
It
it's not
isn't.
really easy to comply with statewide planning, because they're always changing. You know, we go from sustainability to, you know, a policy on sustainability, which this town went through on solar farms, to maybe not so much, to, depending on when you write this, the policies actually at the state could change, including transportation.
We have a motion, a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
very much.
Bill.
Next is item D, application for proposed amendments to Exeter Code of Ordinances zoning, Mylan Earl Adams III, 400 South County Trail, Suite A, 102, Exeter, applicant. Add new article, Farm Overlay District, lots 64-1-8 and lot 64-1-9, 400 Hog House Hill Road.
Yes, sir, this is something similar to Farm Cafe, except that I do want to give credit to the petitioner who did come to the planning board to seek guidance and then make some changes before requesting that the council forward it to the planning board. So what we're requesting tonight is that the town council, by statute, forward this to the planning board, and the planning board will have X number of days to get back to you on what their recommendation is. So it could be for, it could be against, or it could be something in between. So we've been doing that with pretty good success, because the last thing we want to do is have the proposals brought up to the planning board and have so much discussion on them that once it gets to the town council in public hearing, it's just too much to lift. We really should be encouraging that, and I know for some applicants, they're not crazy about that process, and they're always available to just ask the town council and give it to the planning board, but I'm a person that would like to kind of, meet out the differences that could appear at the town council level before it actually gets there, so it's more productive. And it's not just a session where we're very much at odds.
Then you need a vote from the town council to send it to you.
To the planning board.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
You should make a motion yet.
To send it to.
Yeah, it appears, and I'm glad that was made, the motion made and seconded, it appears that this does address a good many of the farm supportive elements that you've just spoken about.
Thank you, Cal, for that.
Well, we might consider,
We might consider, you're correct, it's just another avenue, and again, the devil's in the details, but it is an avenue to provide some flexibility, so these farms can actually have some income, and they're not just sold through estate planning for subdivisions and multifamily, and there's a lot of work that has to go in, because it's really about belts and suspenders, and what I remind everyone is that when you're doing something for zoning, it's not about an individual applicant. And this is where I think sometimes the frustration lies. It's not, it's about the town as a whole, that's what we work for. So when we put a zoning ordinance, that means anyone can ask for it. And so when you're thinking about it, it may be okay for a particular lot, but as a whole, it may not be right for the town. So that's why zoning and changes of text amendments are so very complicated, because you're really looking at how does this apply town-wide, and will there be any kind of adverse effects by that overlay district? And that's what these would be. One would be a zoning, and the other one would be an overlay district. So that's why it can get a little complicated.
I just think the expertise that you bring here is invaluable, and I thank you for that, I really do.
It's my pleasure.
I really do.
My pleasure working for this town.
Thank you, Bill. Yeah, pleasure working with you.
Okay, motion to forward. You already did the motion.
Motion.
But, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next up, Bill, appreciate your help.
You're very, very
Thank
welcome.
you.
Next up is zoning inspector status report, 41 Dolly Pond Road. Come on up, Dave.
Okay. Oh, see, good, thank you, Bill. Thank you, Bill.
You're up, chief. Hey. Yeah, yeah.
You guys get,
We have.
get the results?
You got it,
We
yeah.
have those,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as you know, Scott and I spent some time on this. Yeah. March 12, we spent the most time. The kids were riding that afternoon. We spent an hour and 15 minutes over there taking readings. And we find that, planes, trucks, gentlemen jogging, Scott and I talking, were all louder than the kids riding their bikes. So, I mean, are we gonna contact TF Green, we're gonna cite the pilots for flying over?
You gotta be kidding me.
We can't pick and choose, so.
And the issue is, they're just riding all the time? property.
But, yeah, but the thing is the only time they break the ordinance is when they go up that edge of the road that is closest to the complainant. And it's only for a split second.
Breaking the law, breaking the law.
I wanna ask David a question. David, you and I had spoken, and you had suggested there might be some amendments that could be in order
Yes.
to our noise ordinance?
Yes, because our ordinance says nothing about the sound needing to be sustained. But if you look at state ordinance, it has to be sustained for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And the state is 65 decibels, not 55. And for it to be a nuisance, it has to be 75 decibels and has to be sustained for 30 seconds. Now, I'm not saying that we change our ordinance to 65 decibels, but at least put a sustained time in there for it to be considered a nuisance. In the state, you have to be 200 feet from the sound. Actually, you can be at the property.
We were right on the road.
We were right on the road, right on.
Adjacent to our house.
Yes.
You weren't right in front.
Can I make a suggestion here? David, could you take our zoning ordinance, noise ordinance, and make your own little, things what you think
Yeah,
would be
I like it.
to bring to us to recommend?
Absolutely.
I had some conversations with our new zoning inspector, and I told him that in the 19 years that I've sat here, we did not have a zoning official that ever came to talk to us about issues that had been raised. So I commend David for coming in and talking to us.
And
I know you would think that's what should happen, so I appreciate it. But would you do that for
Yeah,
us?
absolutely. And I have spoken with Mr. Albro since this issue. Okay, well, not since the issue, but since Scott and I did the research. And on his own accord, he actually modified the exhaust on the bikes to be even quieter. So the readings that we got that day will be even less if we go up there and do it again. So, it's nothing against you guys. I mean, we're taking the readings. Over at the plains, your neighbor running the
Leaf blower was a lot louder and more sustained.
A lot longer sustained. So
No one blows their yard for
You're gonna
8
have to cite
hours on a
anyone.
day, or for
There-
25 out of 28 days in a row.
I have noise next to my house as well, so I sympathize with you
Okay.
tremendously, like you don't even understand. I don't go
We do.
outside,
Yeah,
so
same.
I
We
understand.
leave our house completely.
Yeah, what you're going through.
Sure.
And I know through my research with noise, the vibration, I don't know what to exactly call it, the frequency that it hits you.
commercial airliner.
Yeah, like
is
it hits you,
quite a
and maybe
frequency.
that could be also something that, because it's not just decibel, it's the frequency that the noise,
Quality of noise.
yeah.
Some of the
That's what I
jogging is
understand.
different than a
Yeah,
revving engine.
Could be worked
Leaf blower
into
is a
there,
constant.
yeah, mm-hmm,
That's an annoyance.
yeah.
Yeah.
And have you measured when there are 6 ATVs going?
No, actually, I
Because
haven't. I have
we've notified you
taken, I
when
have
that's been
taken your
happening.
calls in the evenings and Saturdays and Sundays and Saturday nights and Sunday nights.
Yes,
I've put my time in, and, if we get an opportunity to measure when there's 6 there, we will.
Thank you.
I mean,
We'll appreciate that, because it happens.
It happens every weekend.
Leave this on an unfinished business for
Please.
next month.
Can I just add one thing?
Real quick.
He said they're breaking the ordinance for a split second. For the past year, that's been happening, and there's been no accountability to it. As I understand, breaking an ordinance is breaking an ordinance, even if it's for a split second. And we, every day, are waking up wondering, when are they gonna start riding? Yesterday, Sunday morning, it was 5 of 9. You know? Yeah, it was. I've got it on video, if you wanna see.
You're videotaping our
children. Right when you're,
Videotaping young children, 5 and 7,
We-
that's cool.
Yeah, 5 and 7-year-olds on
Yeah, 5 and
ATVs.
7-year-olds, and you're
Okay,
videotaping them.
I-
We can have a security camera at our house.
We
We're not
do.
videotaping.
You literally
Word,
videotape with
you
your.
call, you videotape it.
Yeah, to show here, if anyone.
Okay.
All right, hey,
Filmed it,
we're getting out of order here, we can't be
We
doing
would just
that,
like
so.
normal peace and quiet. Other people expect to move out here. It sounds like Dave's suggesting we make our neighborhoods louder if anyone doesn't understand that, which just seems inane to me.
Do you want me to just leave this on here till next month? We'll do unfinished business next month, okay, so you can.
I'll introduce.
Would you, take the ordinance and
Yeah,
do some things that you,
If I get an opportunity
Well-
to go sell there with.
That's been the problem all along.
Please, please, it's, please,
Yeah, I'll do it in the same spot.
We would
I'm
love a
not
chance to
gonna
talk
block
to
it
them
right
between
away.
now and
But where I sit is actually closer to where they're, well, where, not I sit, but where Stoughton I sit. It's actually closer to them than the edge of their property.
all right.
But what's adjacent?
Okay, we'll leave that for unfinished business next month, so. I'm gonna call your number, I couldn't find your phone number.
You've done both.
I left that phone in another truck, so. Okay, next up
I
is.
thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks, David.
Should we
Next up is,
continue?
Boone Lake Dam Management District, lack of board of directors. Is this the board, are you on the board of directors?
I'm the chairperson.
Can you identify yourself?
Ingham Russell, 156 West Rhode Drive.
Go right ahead.
So, the board of directors is made up of treasurer, an assessor collector, and a gatekeeper. And over the last year, we've had difficulty filling the clerk's position. We've not had a meeting. Our last meeting was in December, where I acted as the chair for the clerk, just so we can have a meeting. I've put the message out to the community. I've got note takers. As of tonight, the assessor, collector, and myself, the gatekeeper, are stepping down from our positions. So that will be 3 board positions open, plus we need a chairperson. That's usually one of the board people themselves. Our next meeting is scheduled to be in June, which is the annual financial meeting. The board, as a group, we met a few nights ago to discuss the budget to be presented at the next meeting, at that June meeting. But as it stands right now, we're gonna be down to just a treasurer after the June meeting. I've talked to many people in the community, and there's really no takers. So we've reached out to the board, or to the council, I'm sorry, to start a conversation to see what our next options are if the board dissolves, if we find that we have no membership at all. And, you know, there's still work to be done, we still have to collect the fee, we still have to manage the dam itself, but at this point, we're not gonna have anybody in those positions to do those jobs.
Would you like to answer that one, Ken?
I can.
okay, yeah, okay.
Actually, is this my email?
Yeah, you were good, yeah,
Yeah.
and responding.
Make sure that I did all my own things. Yeah, so I guess the real question, I think, is what is it that the board is looking for the council to do? Because right as it stands, the way the ordinance is set up, the council doesn't have any authority with regard to the dam management district if the board of the district doesn't put to the membership of the district a budget proposal, then there's no dam management fees. There's no way to have them other than that process. So if there's nobody in those positions, then nobody's gonna be doing anything. Nobody will be maintaining anything or paying anything for so long as the positions remain vacant. The council doesn't have the power to step in without changing the ordinance, which may be a whole other sort of ball wax that I haven't really gotten into. So I don't know if there's anything that the council can do to help through changes to how the ordinance is set up, I think that the way it's established, there isn't a quorum requirement, meaning that you don't need to have, for example, every position filled for the board to still take some action. So if you have just a couple of members, even if you have a bunch of vacancies, they can still vote on things and put a budget together, for example. So as long as it's not completely vacant, you may still be able to function. Obviously, that's not ideal for a lot of reasons, and a lot of responsibility for the people that are willing to step up, sort of continue to step up to it. But is there anything that you think the council can do to help, short of, taking over, which isn't really an option?
We discussed at our last meeting of bringing to the membership of hiring an outside agency to take care of it, which just snowballed into many, many more questions. And again, I just want everybody to know here that I'm on a fact-finding mission. This is not, an end-all be-all. We're still functioning. There's still a dam. But I'm just trying to find out what our options are, what our next steps are, so I can go back to the board and present them.
So on that front, as far as being able to hire a company to handle collecting the fees, they wouldn't be able to establish what the fees are, but to physically do the collection process. The way the ordinance is set up, you need the unanimous approval of the board of directors. If there's only one or two people on the board of directors and they vote yes, that's still unanimous. So there's no quorum requirement, which normally, for example, for the town council to do anything, at least half the members have to be present. You gotta have 3 people, or else the council just doesn't have the power to do anything. There is no provision that says that for you.
Right, if the membership has to have a quorum of
Correct.
financial,
Right.
that's the only time.
Exactly. So because of that, because that's the only quorum requirement, it seems as if though you would be able to have the board still do those pieces. You could, assuming the board was unanimous, hire an outside agency to do the collecting, which might take some of the sort of day-to-day sort of management work off of your shoulders, which might make it easier to find people also, as an aside. But that part seems to still be a possibility and something that might make sense to do before everybody leaves, if everybody thinks that that's a good idea.
So for sake of argument, we're able to autonomously make the decision, if need be, to hire an organization to collect the fee if we're not able to fill it, without coming back to change the ordinance.
Right, the ordinance already provides for that. It's section 42-196. And it says it right in there that the board has that power, provided you vote unanimously. If anybody on the board says, no, that's a bad idea, then it doesn't pass. But if there's only, 3 people left on the board and they are all in agreement, then you can do that.
Okay, I appreciate your time.
Good luck.
Ken, thank you for this. I wondered if that gentleman had ever received, or if you didn't.
I assume not. I think I wanted you all to see it before it
Should
went to
we
anybody else.
You can have
share,
one. There's questions and answer to that.
I would suggest ripping off the last page and just
Not
giving them that.
to give your answers?
Yeah.
Not to-
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, next up, what's that count?
No, I
Okay.
said, I remember when this was put into effect, and how people were tired of trying to do big sales and everything else to try to raise money to maintain the dam. And quite honestly, I just don't understand why people who live there don't wanna help maintain what they got. Cause without the dam, they ain't got a lot, but that's my,
Can I just?
no, it's not the point, what's the
Going on to the
point?
next item, so.
What's the point?
Item G, Department of Public Works awarding a bid for gasoline delivery. You're up, Rob.
Yeah, so Santoro Oil put a bid in, great company. It's not no little mom and pop company, so it's the mother company to Ocean State Oil, which we do a lot of business with already. So I recommend them.
We need a motion for Rob.
I'll make a motion that
What is it?
Santoro Oil, that Rob has recommended that we get the gasoline from them. They have the winning bid.
Thank you. I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the next item, West Shore Drive turnaround issues and possible resolution. I've talked to Rob about this, and we're gonna move this to the budget hearings because this is not a simple issue to go down there and build a turnaround at the end of that road due to property line in the street, wetlands and everything else. It's just not a quick fix, so this is gonna have to be just moved to the budget hearings, so that's.
Excuse me?
I need a motion.
That's what you said you
So is that's the only way that issue is?
I said, good thing you said.
You're looking at wetlands permits.
No, 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 I know, but
Yeah, I do actually.
No, but
we haven't decided that that's the only alternative.
well, they've been turning around to Birch Drive. for
I'll laugh all I
30 years.
want.
But,
Hey,
okay,
See ya.
all right, let's. No, I was just asking whether or not, is that continuing now? Is that what's happening now, the Birch Drive turnaround?
According to the bus driver, they've been turning around it for over 30 years.
Okay.
Birch Drive, so,
I think you follow my question. I mean, my question is, now we're gonna address spending a lot of money,
one individual wants to turn around at the end of West Shore Drive at the very end where we had to tear a
yeah,
stone wall out.
that's what I remember.
Rob has been able to turn around one of the big trucks with a plow, I guess, was it a basketball court that's in the way?
That's right.
That's on someone's property.
I've heard this story, I've talked with Rod. I just wonder if, well, that's the way we should
There is
leave
some
it.
lots that we end at the end of the road, when I look in there, I don't think it's possible.
Yeah, so maybe this is not the answer to wait for budget time.
No,
Well, that's up to you.
something to look at, so.
Okay.
You wanna add anything, Rob? Or-
No, well, actually, we used every inch of town property available at the end of that road. Up to this point, it's bigger than it was before the guy put the rock wall in there. And so, for 40 years, I checked with the school company, the bus stop has been at Birch Drive for 40 years.
It's also about emergency vehicles. Emergency vehicles.
I can turn around a truck with an 11-foot plow up there with no problem.
A tanker?
It can have a tank on it, we have a tanker, so yes.
The fire truck almost took out a
Okay.
A fire truck can get,
No. Yeah. Okay, then motion to move this to budget hearings for possible discussion to see if there's a solution to the problem.
That's a motion, I'll
That's a
second.
motion, second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, item I, tax assessor, request to proceed to bid for request for proposal, statistical reappraisal and evaluation.
Yeah, I'll move that we grant that request. That's my motion to grant it.
Second.
This is second.
Okay.
I'll just say this is a work in progress that has to be done. And this is a formality to let this process begin.
Okay.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item J, proposed amendments to town council bylaws, section 102B, regular meeting, possible change to start time of meetings. This was introduced last month, to start at 6:30.
6:30.
So now we have to vote on it. So,
I'll make a motion that the town council bylaws be changed, so the regular meeting start time will be 6:30 instead of 7.
Second.
all in favor? Aye.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why, do you want them to start at 6 or
Aye,
5?
no.
3 o'clock in the afternoon?
Aye.
Is that unanimous?
Yeah.
Yes, it was. K, Rhode Island Ethics Commission response to council's inquiry to meet. That was you, Cal?
Yes, and if you recall, we had directed our clerk to write to the Ethics Commission. And may I just please read the letter, it's not terribly long, but for the record, I would appreciate you listening. I am writing in response to your letter dated February 14, 2025, referencing the multiple complaints made to the Ethics Commission concerning public officials and employees of the town of Exeter over the last few years. Please be aware that the Ethics Commission has always tried to strike an appropriate balance between holding public officials accountable for non-compliance with the state's ethics laws, while also understanding that not every alleged violation or omission was intentional or made in bad faith. One effort to maintain that balance came very recently when on January 7th, 2025, the Ethics Commission adopted a new fine schedule for financial disclosure complaints that allows for greater flexibility and discretion to resolve financial disclosure complaints in cases where the filer agrees to immediately amend a deficient statement. I found that reply particularly encouraging, given what I went through. And maybe I don't know about the they in particular. And I didn't ask for that, but that just was part of his answer to that letter that was written. Notwithstanding the above, ultimately will always be the responsibility of each public official to become familiar with the legal requirements of holding public office. Whether these requirements relate to open meetings and public records laws, or compliance with the Code of Ethics relative to recusal and financial disclosure. To assist public officials in complying with the Code of Ethics, we regularly offer free trainings, both in person and online. We generally recommend that municipal officials and employees receive ethics training at least every 2 years, and it appears that the town of Exeter has not sought training for its council or board since 2019. I suggest that you reach out to our education coordinator, name and number here, to schedule ethics training for all Exeter's public officials and employees. I appreciate the concerns raised in your letter, and thank you and all of Exeter's public officials for your commitment to the ethical and transparent administration of government. That's signed Jason Grammett. He's the executive director. And I actually did have a conversation with him, and he had suggested that there can be on-site training. I don't know if it's obviously be Zoom or online, as you call it. We did suggest that some years ago. It was not. Only a few people followed through. My suggestion is that we try to have a daytime, during the day meeting when all employees that are here and anyone else from boards or commissions can come because they should, just to go through training as recommended. And I would also suggest that we set up one evening session for people who, and perhaps it's a night with a planning board work session, which they probably have the most people that might need to listen. And that's my suggestion.
I saw East Greenwich had a little ethics training pre-council meeting one day when I don't know what I was looking at their website for, but I thought, oh, that's interesting. Just throwing it out there as another option.
Yeah, we did do that. We had an evening meeting many years
Well,
ago.
But they cut out a half hour before
Right.
the meeting
We
for,
did a day in the evening,
Yeah.
and we told everybody to do it online. After this.
Well, he's suggesting we try, and that's why I'm suggesting to us that we try to set a time. And if it's during the day when people are here, then they could just be here and attend, and anybody else who could attend during the day. But I think he said it's about an hour-long program. Isn't that what I think when we talked on the phone? So that's just my suggestion, to try to accommodate the Ethics Commission's suggestion that we do that. But if nobody wishes to pursue it, then we won't. I mean, I just make a motion that we attempt to set up a one daytime session and one evening session, and see if we can get some folks that can. If not everybody can attend, we do the best we can. We try. We offer 2 sessions.
Motion?
It is.
Okay, I'll second.
Thank you. And I know you work during the day, so you won't be here. So does Diane, so does Ray. Most of his
So
business.
the issue is if you got all the employees in here, you're gonna take an hour, and we're gonna put them.
No, they can meet it here,
Have to go to the front door.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, there are 45 people that work, whatever the capacity is. I think we met in here before, as I remember some
Are
years
we gonna
ago.
close to that hour? I mean, because we'll have phones ringing.
Well, yeah, I suppose that we can do that, once you set up and we can say that close, why do we close for the holiday party? Well, instead we can close from 1 to 2 for ethics training. And I bet the public will cheer. But they don't need to, because we're all doing a fine job. But you know, some people suggest otherwise.
I don't have a problem with that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item L, Cal, you had this one too, Yard Valley Apartments, termination of tenancy policy.
No, I didn't do that.
You put it?
Cal,
Or maybe
I
it
think
was
you did.
just,
You did.
well, then it was because
Yeah.
then Jessica had brought this to our attention. So it seemed like we should perhaps, I don't know if we can discuss it, maybe we can refer it to Ken for review.
Well, I was reading that Saturday night, whatever the company did, it looks like it was legal with the attached paperwork. They were following state law.
I don't know how we could
Well,
supersede, you know, private.
well, then,
Terrible policy.
yeah, well,
But it's legal with the, so.
Yeah, it's unfortunate,
Not very.
I know that.
well, I don't suppose we can write to the company and indicate that it certainly caused considerable distress. I mean, at least, and then with
What was ever the outcome? Did the individual stay there, or were they forced out, or?
No, she was supposed to have to leave at a certain point.
Yeah, there was never
I
any
think-
I read something, I think it was in Jessica's report to us this month, that she tried to find assistance for that person. I don't remember where I
Yes,
read
Yeah,
it.
she did, yeah.
Didn't she read
Yes,
that?
yes.
Yeah. I read it a while ago.
Okay. Yeah.
Apparently they've done it to other people.
Yeah, yeah. That's awful.
Okay.
Well, you know, we can't do anything, but maybe Jessica would appreciate that we at least recognize and just write to the company and indicate that it may not be illegal, but it's certainly
Not
not,
nice.
not a good thing. I don't know, just my thought. But
I'm
you
gonna
can
leave
leave
it where it was
You can
after
leave
reading
it.
the documentation. I mean, if someone wants to write a letter on their own, I don't have an issue, you know.
It's all right, okay.
Okay, the next
Thank you.
one is Exeter West Greenwich Regional School District Special Election.
Yeah, I put that on. And the reason I did that is because of the back and forth that occurred over the changing of the election vote, because the state, I think the Board of Elections has dictated to here that it can't be done the way it's been done. But so they're doing it anyway just to vote, because the vote is not including charter amendment, because that forced it into a 20-day period. You followed
But they're
this,
they're
right?
still proposing
Yeah,
doing
they are,
that
and
this
that's
fall.
why I
They don't
put-
wanna wait till the next general election?
That's why I placed it.
Okay.
Because I think that we, as a council, need to indicate in some form, maybe we need a little legalese here, that we wish to have that special, we wish to not conduct a special election, but have that charter amendment be considered at the next regular election
In
in
2026.
2026. Because the cost for both towns is in excess of
20
$6,000.
days and you might get
At 20
150
days, and
people.
this, maybe West Greenwich is an inconvenience, but that's 20 days that this room is off limits, and 20 days for a handful of folks. I hate to say a lot more people should be concerned with what's happening in the school district, but we all know what the vote is, minimal. And I don't think we should ask the board or,
It's not gonna hurt them.
I beg your pardon? I know they want that corrected, that method of distribution, which, one more year. So I think we as a council should just indicate that we want them. I don't know if we can tell, can they demand when we hold an election? I don't know. If that's, can they say to the two boards of canvassers, now we want the election? And I'm not knocking the school, don't get me wrong. I just think we should indicate that we wish that charter amendment to be considered at our next regular election. Yeah, next general election.
Okay.
For economic, finance, whatever.
Common sense.
Well,
It's
the
not an
inconvenience
emergency,
and
it's
the-
not
the-
public
the,
safety.
It's
But it's
just,
basically staying the same, isn't it? It's just about the level funding, but they just
They wanna
worded
put, they
it a
wanna
little
word it
bit
into the
different.
charter.
Yeah,
It's not.
Yeah,
just
which-
worded a
which-
little bit
which-
different.
I
and-
can't blame them for wanting to do that. I think they
No,
need to
but
try to
it's-
get by for
Yeah,
one more year
it's,
and hope the same situation doesn't recur.
Is that your motion?
Yeah, well, you know what it was.
You know what he means,
Lynn
man,
got it,
right?
right?
Yeah.
Lynn, I'll help you with it.
So we're gonna just do a letter, but we're not making a motion?
Oh, yeah, motion
Yeah, he's making a
that
motion.
the council
We said
has
no.
directed,
I'll
council has
second the
directed
I'll second the motion.
you to write, and on behalf of the council, that we postpone, we,
To the next general election.
how about we will put, no, I don't know if we could say we will, we wish to. What's the diplomatic way to say this?
I think wish to, regardless of the legal answer, probably is gonna come off.
Wait, I'm listening. What, please?
wish to is better
Is
verbiage.
better.
Yeah.
We wish to.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to make it right here.
We wish you would postpone. No, because if they
We-
do dictate, you know, they can say we
But
want to
can
have a
they-
special election because
they
we're gonna pay
can.
for it. So we would like them to postpone it for financial
We
reasons.
would like to, or we wish to,
So yes,
however
letter.
gently.
It's got a second.
Delay it,
Who-
very
who-
seconded.
Should we leave it to you to be gentle? No,
Oh,
we won't
yes.
do that.
You got it.
I'm very gentle and kind all the time.
Thank you.
So we have a motion.
Yeah.
We have
Do I have
a
a
second.
second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Ray, you said this one, you wanted to postpone, your veterans representative, John Cianci programs and opportunities for local veterans.
Actually, he's here tonight, John.
Come on up, get it over
We,
with.
yeah, well, come on up. He wasn't gonna come, but it's his own story. John, go right ahead, sir.
Yeah, I'll be very brief and everything, but I'm a Army veteran, 22 years, and a veteran service officer. And yeah, I do a lot with the veterans, all volunteer. I've been living in Exeter for 3 years.
Yeah, bro.
And what I can tell you is there's a lot going on about the sharks out there charging veterans and everything. And our organization that I lead up in the state is the Italian American War Veterans. We're congressionally chartered and VA accredited. We do everything for free. I was away last week for some training. I got a call from Jessica. There was a veteran that was passing away in Exeter. They didn't know how to get his DD 214 and they needed help. I was able to resolve that. So I've been working with Jessica on the social side. I know you guys had a long night. All I can tell you is when you see, we put out a flyer, you know, and it's a little resource guide and everything, and we'll have Exeter. We try to make sure they're registered for their tax benefits, and then we try to reach out to the veterans. We're gonna be doing like a newsletter and everything. So it's not a shock company out there. You'll see my name out there, you know, we're neighbors. I think, you know, I see some other people, you know, there's a lot out there for veterans. We got a lot of veterans living the way they shouldn't be living. We got a lot of widows out there. So if you see my name out there, you know, like John Cianci, or you see some of these flyers up there at the different places and everything, I assure you, we do everything is 100% free. And it's all in the best interest of the veterans to make sure that we help them navigate, you know, through the VA system, navigate for state benefits, navigate for federal benefits and everything. And, you know, there's federal law, they're supposed to, every town and city is supposed to have a veteran service officer, and maybe down the road we can involve them in that, you know, I can be officially appointed and everything. But probably be looking at trying to use the library to set up like once a month that I'll be there for any questions, you know, for veterans or anyone that comes out and everything. But like I said, Ray knows me, you know, we're neighbors. There's a lot going on in state level about shocks. We're not one of those companies out there and everything. We're out there for the, you know, for the veterans. So, and if you know any veterans, widows of veterans that, you know, that are probably entitled to it, I've almost $8 million in the last 5 years getting veterans their benefits and everything that, as an unpaid position. So, and I'm proud to be a member of the town.
Is that right? Is that something that
Yeah,
eventually?
I just came back from Minnesota,
Oh.
so I don't know if I have enough of them.
But sir, I wanted to ask you, are there copies of these on the counter, or did they?
I gave Jessica some.
Well, maybe just in case somebody comes in, they might see.
Yeah, I'll get some up.
Glenn or Pat, like, you know, somebody standing at the counter, they might see it. That's a nice
You
distribution.
can put them out in the foyer.
Yeah, oh, good, yeah, that, yeah, you do that with stuff, don't you?
You wanna bring some more?
Yeah, I will. I just came back from Minnesota last night at 2 in the morning, so,
Oh,
yeah, so, but, again, when, you know, I just, Ray asked me to come, I saw it on the calendar, you did call me, you know, and, but I wasn't sure if it was just last Monday, but I've enjoyed the entertainment tonight too, and finding out more about the town.
Yeah, but this is an excellent piece, and I know of people, veterans, who didn't know how to take advantage of some of.
Yeah, I'm gonna change, I got one ready to be printed, and it's gonna have the town of Exeter.
Okay.
And then Jessica we're gonna get a mailing list to help out with the parade, so we're gonna be doing a mailing. But I just wanted, tonight was just important, what we do is everything for free for our veterans and everything, so.
To your credit, thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you, John.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Appreciate what you do for us.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for your service.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's go.
Okay,
Yeah, John knows me.
next up is Town of Exeter Resolution Number 2025-02, a resolution in opposition to Rhode Island 2025 gun control legislation. This I had Lynn Exeterized the Burrville one. I was getting calls over this. I had a young lady come in and visit me over the weekend concerned about this. I did go to these hearings on the 26th of March, and what they've done this time is specifically one bill, which was about a dozen up there. I'm not gonna read this in the record, we do have copies up here for you, I actually printed some off. And they put in a House bill, there's one on the Senate side, it has not been heard yet. House Bill 5436, the Rhode Island Assault Weapons Ban Act of 2025. When you went to these hearings up there on the 26th, a dog and pony show is a polite way of saying what this other side was doing. The disturbing part about this bill is it bans the manufacture of magazines and gun parts. It's literally gonna close 2 factories down in this state. One is A.T. Wall Company in Warwick, which is the second largest manufacturer of magazines and steel stampings for the military. Another company is Roscoe Manufacturing, which has quite a few government contracts with the military. Not to mention, there's one business here in town that has just invested over $1 million, which will most likely shut them down. And when you read, the more you read this bill, the worse it gets. It's not an assault weapons bill, it's an all weapons bill, ban. And it's just, it's bad. At the hearings on the 26th, I got up there at like 3:30, the hearings started at 2 o'clock. At 2 o'clock, when they started the hearings, they had 1,100 people that had signed opposed to these bills, and only 62 in favor. and there was 4,500 people in that State House at 3:30. So that's why I put this in. I'm not gonna read it in the record because it's so lengthy, the one individual asked, so I had some printed off if you'd like one, so. With that, any questions?
Yeah. Is this directed at one particular bill? Because there must be many
It's
there.
basically all of them, but when you get onto page 3 of 5 down at the
Wow.
bottom, it says those two bills. A lot of it is background on the Constitution and different
Yeah,
Supreme Court
right.
cases. I mean, another disturbing thing that happened up there, it's a one-sided show up there in that House Judiciary. The pro-gun group, the liaison for the National Shooting Sports Foundation, the liaison for the National Rifle Association, and then the liaison for the state organization were all denied their time to speak. They were allowed to speak for 2 minutes. You are no longer expert witnesses. Then they proceeded to have a firearms expert from every town from gun safety from New Jersey speak for 15 minutes, and a lawyer that wrote this legislation speak for another 20. It was completely one-sided. It was pretty ugly. If you go on Capitol TV, go to House Judiciary, March 26th, you can watch the 7.5 hours of hearings. The first 2 hours is pretty much as interesting, so. That's
Would
where
you
it's
say
at.
there were two bills here that you
Yeah, the Senate one is,
particularly offensive?
the Senate bill is number 359. They're on vacation this week. The House and Senate shut down. They're expecting that one to be heard either next week or the week after, they're saying, so.
Dan, quite honestly.
I know your opinion, Cal.
You know my opinion, and I'm only gonna suggest, Dan, that given your position, I'm not sure you should have been the one to introduce this.
Well, my feeling is, I took an oath to uphold the Constitution, so that's where I'm coming from on this one, so.
Did you make the motion, or do you want me to?
You can make a motion
I
if
can
you
make
want.
a motion. I'd like to make a motion to adopt a resolution in opposition to Rhode Island 2025 gun control legislation.
That's a second for me. Second.
Any discussion?
No.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
No,
No,
Okay, vote is 3-2. Okay.
and maybe an ethics, opinion on that, you don't
I
wanna
had
get.
one in 2011,
Rick,
the
can you
concealed
print
carry.
it so I can see it, or we can see it as a council?
Oh, no, I went up there and they gave me a verbal one, and the other one was, that was one where Mr. DiGregorio said I was pushing concealed carry permits to facilitate gun sales, and they said no. The other time I've been up there is when we reviewed.
So you're telling me you would not ask them for an opinion if you should be, a gun store owner should be introducing that kind of legislation and voting on it and all this other stuff here? You
I'm not
won't?
worried in the least bit.
Okay.
So.
So if I ask them for an opinion on that, it's okay?
Yeah, go right
Okay.
ahead. Yeah, good job. The next one is Town of Exeter Resolution 2025-3, resolution of the Town of Exeter regarding the restoration of general revenue sharing for the state, cities, and towns. If you go through all the correspondence, I believe we've got probably a half a dozen from other
They've
towns
been
where
into
they
other
are
towns
pretty much
with that.
level funding and taking away the money. Go.
yeah, I would certainly move.
You
to-
agree with me on this one, Joe?
Yes,
Okay.
Dan, I do. And I move that we adopt this resolution as presented.
Okay,
Second that.
any discussion? All in favor?
Aye, that's the unanimous vote.
Shut up.
You caught me on the school bus one, I didn't see the part about private, because I even asked Lynn, I thought we passed one of them. So,
well,
yeah.
It's only because I have more time than you do, because I'm reducing this. I know.
Okay, number 10, unfinished business. Oh, I'm
No,
sorry.
no, Q.
Skip one, Q. Request for letter of support, traffic light Oak Harbor at Route 2. The owner of, what is that, what do they call that? Pine Hill, is it Pine, what do they call it? Okay, so.
Pine Ridge.
Pine Ridge. He asked me a couple months ago about a traffic light there, and I told him they're probably gonna make you pay for it. And I guess they had a traffic engineer there, him and the guy that owns the cannabis shop at the top of the hill. They wanna put a light in there. I guess they need a letter of support for the, what the hell's that?
Yeah.
The traffic safety board?
It's a traffic safety commission?
Yeah,
Traffic safety.
that, like we did for 165 and Route 3, we had to send in a letter.
Like I did for that left turn lane in the Deerbrook, I did that.
So,
I move, I think it should be explored, and I would move with a letter of support.
if people knew how to drive, it wouldn't be an
Well,
issue.
that's, there should be a lot of traffic calming in a lot of places.
That's a busy, a lot of people go up that hill to the Pine Ridge. A lot of people go to the gas station and all of the businesses at Oak Harbor. So
Yeah,
that's
well, it's
very,
pretty because it's.
Could I have a second, please, before you?
Yeah,
Second.
thank you, I appreciate that
Second.
too, Lynn, thank you.
so, I mean, we know we come out of Deerbrook, it takes a while to get out in the morning, so, and then the people drive crazy. They drive very fast for the condition, the road conditions, the way the road is set up. I don't have a problem with this. I think it's like I suggested once, you put up speed camera ahead, or you put up, speed bumps, flying in the woods, that'll teach them.
The biggest issue with that intersection, besides people driving like morons, if you're sitting in that little lane or wanting to take a left to go up the hill, and someone coming north puts their right blinker on, they go right into it, they're gonna hit you head on.
That's what they do in Deerbrook. They do the same thing there.
It happens down at, South Road also, it happened to me there, so.
They put that center lane in, and people use it to pass. They do it all the time on Route 2, and, stop them. Any of the traffic safety things,
You also have trouble at Mail Road. Mail
Okay.
Road, same trouble there, Mail Road and Liberty.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now we can go to unfinished business. It's 8:45, we'll just keep going. We're
Yeah.
almost
I
done.
think we should,
Okay,
please.
all right. Unfinished business, A, reciprocal inspections and agreement between the town of Exeter and neighboring towns. Any update on that?
We got a letter, from him, they're in the middle of
Switching over to a new building inspector.
switching over to the building inspector, and he said he would, reach out when we get that all straightened out.
Keep that on there for now. B, library board of trustees giving policy, is that you, Ken?
I, talked to Ken about it, we went over it, and I think, speak for both of us a lot. The policy's fine as is, except we're gonna remove the signature line from the bottom of the policy. So,
Okay.
you don't have to sign that anymore.
The members, signature board member.
Right.
They don't have to write, you don't have to have a record that they reviewed, is that what this was for? A signature that says they understand it or something?
Yeah, none of the other policies have that same sort of a function to it, so just to bring it in line with the others.
And this will just be included with the other policies that the
Just the-
library board has.
Just the library board policy.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
If you wish to have support from us, I'll move that we adopt that.
Thank you, I appreciate
Would you like that?
it. Yes.
Okay, he liked that. So I move that we adopt the proposed giving, giving policy.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ken.
Okay, C, status, welcome signing in and out of town,
I have
nothing, okay. D, status, RI 250 Commission, Exeter Historic Preservation Commission. I don't see anybody here.
All I know is they're going to be at the Exeter Library Craft Market.
Okay.
They'll have a booth.
E, town government buildings, uses and improvement plans, number 1, 675 Penrod Road, status, basement mitigation. Which is-
I am super happy to report that all the departments pitched in and went downstairs and threw their stuff and records, reorganized it, trashed what was trash, and we have a lot of room now. They will have a lot of room once all the water mitigation is done. Robin Company has done a lot of work. They took out 4 truckloads of trash. And now today, they've moved everything away from the walls because the company that's coming in to do the water mitigation needs 4-foot space all around the perimeter. And we're moving, and I can't thank Rhode and Company and the girls enough. Everything looks good. And Ken went down to clean his stuff,
My
not
stuff
just
is
girls.
the worst part of the whole basement.
He was really good, standing water goes like that.
Right, the display
Well, at least you weren't near the
lights.
waterfall.
How long the water's not display lights?
I think it would be very nice to
Probably
have
by
it
morning you'll have the
secured
water
for you.
Yeah, it'll be, yeah, it'll take care of some of the mold, mildew, maintain the records.
Okay, you good?
Yes.
Okay. 742 10 Rod Road, status architectural services?
Yes, so we made the, you know, the award, we have the proposed first draft of the contract from the architect. Ken has supplied his comments, I'm reviewing them, and I'll put my comments, and then we'll get them back to Mr. Azzarano, and get a final contract for the council to review.
All right. Page, Communications, Cal, you had 33.
I did, all of these, they mimic each other. The line that caught my attention most was, the school committee believes that, an amended, bill here in the legislature require non-public schools to share in transportation costs with sending schools would, ensure equitable resource allocation. So, this, I would propose that we Exeterize this and then put it on next month's agenda, one of these resolutions, they're resolutions. This one comes from the school committee. Well, maybe, I mean, I guess they're all school committee now that I see them, so maybe we wait for Exeter.
They're all 4 of them, are you?
They are, now that I see that. I just thought we should, because we put the bill, support that.
So we gonna Exeterize and put it on the agenda, or are we gonna wait for Exeter?
Well, I just think that there's a whole issue here about school transportation, which adds
I know in the
significantly to our
past, we've
budget.
gone up there, both councils at one time when they were trying to cut the regular budget that they're supposed to give us. I don't have an issue with us putting it in. So.
Well, I mean, we ultimately pay the bill for all of this, and it seems to me that we ought to support something like this. Well,
So we're Exeterizing and putting it on next month's.
May's agenda, if you would. I mean, that's my motion.
That's your motion. Okay, second? I'll
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
That covered all 4 of your communications, Cal.
Yeah, they were all basically the same.
We do number 10.
What's that?
Number 10.
I pulled number 10.
Oh, I'm sorry. You put that one down.
I'm gonna have Diane do it. But hold on.
The Armenian National Committee asked us to, do the flag at half-mast in commemoration of the genocide, that happened,
No.
I think they call it Holocaust genocide, that happened in Armenia on April 24th.
They do that every year.
And I thought we did it every year anyway,
Yeah.
but especially this year, because my brother-in-law died Friday, and his family was part of that genocide and came here.
We need to do a program on it?
Yeah, you just, direct us to, we do have an Armenian flag, and we have a holder
Yeah.
out front
Okay.
to fly it on that day. We've done it almost every year. You have to find the flag.
You wanna do the motion?
It was in the basement.
I'll make a motion that we fly there.
Rob threw that away.
Find the flag.
I'll second.
We knew right where it was, but.
Okay.
Who seconded
Nothing
that?
can be easy, right?
Diane, you did
Right.
it.
I'm gonna call a brief recess before we go to executive session.
That was a motion and second?
Yeah.
Second? Everybody in favor? How you doing?
Pretty good. Here, losing my hearing. I think it's, how they use in the military.
Yeah, you think? So many bangs. Right?
Well, John had, what did he say, 22? I had 33.
That's what it was.
Where's Bob's?
I didn't realize that. Yeah, 33 years.
I think that
They really just need this from my
I told Michael that there were like only a couple of countries you've never been to.
They need to know.
Well,
I am starving. Is that okay? I haven't eaten dinner yet. I'm sorry. Yeah. They're in college, yeah. Matthew's gonna be a senior in college next year. They're gonna be done. They're gonna be done. I know. I know, it happens. We got little us going into the world. Same here. Thank you very much.
That's not why I like them.
He does stuff like that, and that should be. Well, shove it into this place.
Actually, I did there with you, but.
Have a good night.
You too, take it easy.
Yeah.
You know, to really witness it, then if you're on.
Have a good weekend.
I know. Wake up, school. Take care.
I don't know if they will ever.
Yes, you didn't get jury duty.
You said you didn't want to
Didn't
take
get
it.
jury duty.
Oh, boy, I was down here 3 days.
Did you serve? Or you just waited?
He sat right in
I don't know
front
how
of me.
she'll receive
Who's
it.
he?
Aaron Thomas.
I didn't know she was 3, so.
And they pick, you know how they pick the jury? They crack them in a bucket, like a
Yeah.
bingo thing.
No, how we're gonna do this because.
They pick up